What's going on, people? Welcome back to Premzy TV. Make sure you're smashing a like on this video. Subscribe if you're new, people. And today we're going to be talking about the transfer deadline day. We're going to talk about the deals that have crossed the line at the Arsenal. And also, we're going to be previewing the Everton game. And we got no other than James B from AFTV, Sky Sports. What you telling me, bro? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me. We spoke about this, didn't we, after the City defeat? It was good to catch you there. And I'm glad we're doing this. It's good to catch up. It's good to chat all things Arsenal. And I always I love chatting with you because we don't always agree on everything, but we can always have really good chats about it. So I'm genuinely really happy to be here. And by the way, your setup looks sick. Can I say?
You know what? Yeah, I gotta say, yo, big up to L as well, the graphic designer, my boy. He's hooked me up, he's leveled me up. You know what I mean? So I gotta give him a big shout out. You know what I'm saying, bro? But look, this is what it is, bro. I'm telling you, it's about opinions. If we all had the same opinions, it'd be boring. There won't be no point in doing these kind of shows. But thank you very much for coming on. Obviously, I have wanted to get you on a lot earlier, but I know that you're busy and stuff like that. And this is a debut on the show. So big up to yourself. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you go and click James's channel link. It's in the description, and go and subscribe to his channel as well. Because this guy, I'm telling you now, like he said, we don't agree on everything, but he's top notch, top class, quality. But look, James, I wanted to get your opinions first of all on the deals that have come through the door at Arsenal, because I'm not going to lie, I've been underwhelmed towards the back end of the transfer window, and I'm starting to take steps to be a bit more positive about it. But how have you seen it so far?
I would be lying if I said that part of my optimism isn't the fact that I have no choice. You know, I have to be optimistic, don't I? I have to just be excited about it, and trust that the club's done what they believe is best, and believe that Jorginho is going to come and make a difference, and that Kivior is that backup to Gabriel in the competition we need. And look, I like Trossard a lot. I think that's a really good signing. Kivior, I don't know a lot, but cool. I mean, I wasn't even expecting a left-sided centre-back to come in. So the fact that we have one that people are excited about is a bonus, plus I'm happy. On the Jorginho stuff, I was underwhelmed as well. When it came through, at first David Ornstein reported it, I thought, oh, this just feels like panic. Then I really looked into it. And again, like I said, part of me wants to be optimistic. Part of me is looking to find the reasons to be happy. But even if I take that away, you know, there is a lot that makes sense about this deal. It's not perfect. You can look at the fact that it's another former Chelsea player that hasn't tended to go too well for us, or certainly not make the kind of difference we'd hope and expect it to. And you can also look at the fact that when we've got Partey or even El Neni as an understudy, you've got two real dynamic number sixes there that cover that area of the pitch so well. They're lone sixes. They have to do a lot of work, and they do it brilliantly. And it's a physical as well as it is a technical, you know, battle and job in there. But while Jorginho lacks that physical element for me, in possession, you can't question it. You know, he is as good as it, maybe not as good as it gets, but one of the top 5 DMs in the world, technically, probably in that position. Have I gone too far? That might have been a bit too far.
Hey, this is where we're going to start disagreeing straight away.
I know. But he's very, very good on the ball. Very good on the ball. And I watched him at Euro 2020, you know, being Italian. Yeah. And I watched every game, and my word, did he look bloody good on the ball in that area.
Well, yeah, so I forgot you got a low-key soft spot for him. I forgot about that, James. You got a low-key
He's won me silverware already. What can I say? Look, you say I've got that soft spot, but he missed some crucial penalties, and he's the reason we didn't go. He's not the reason. He's one of the reasons. So missed penalties that Italy never went to the World Cup. But look, I get it. 12 million, a year-and-a-half contract, fine. Better than nothing. Arsenal spent a lot of time with the ball, so I kind of get it. Is it underwhelming? Yes, but I'm not up in arms about it at all.
You know what? I agree with you in the sense that it's better than nothing, 100%, because for me, it would have just been a disaster if we didn't go and get a midfielder. However, the biggest problem for me is that Arteta has put this squad together, and we've got to give him massive credit and praise. But every single signing that he wants through the door first doesn't seem to get done. It always looks to be the plan B. And I think the Jorginho one, to me, it seemed like a bit of a panic, to be honest, because if we did want him, we would have went in straight away in January and got him signed. And I think this is where the club need to start progressing a bit. in knowing if players are going to come and join Arsenal, put the right kind of offers down and get them through the door early. Stop dragging it on, because I'll be honest, James, it's starting to piss me off because we going after Mudryk, we don't get him. We went after Vahalovic, don't get him. We go after Rafinha, don't get him. Went after Caicedo, don't get him. So at what point are we going to actually start getting the players that we want? Because if these plan Bs are working, just imagine where the club would be if we got the plan A's through the door. It'd go through. So this is where I'm a little bit underwhelmed. Like, I understand with the centre back because we needed some kind of cover for Gabriel, which, to be fair, I don't really know much about him. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I do. Obviously, I've done like what everyone else has done, clicked on YouTube, and everyone looks like a superstar. So hopefully he comes in left-footed. He's had praising reviews from Lewandowski, so that's a good sign. Again, Trossard, was I happy that we got him? I was, and I wasn't, because I'm not going to lie, I was very optimistic about Mudryk, and I really did want him because I thought he was going to be a good signing. However, that didn't materialize, and we went out there and got in Trossard. And Trossard looks like he's actually going to fit the team very well. Against United, he came on, done very well. Against Man City away, bro, he looked like probably our most standout player, shall I say, rather. And that's a good acquisition. The Jorginho situation for me, look, he's wearing the red and white. He's got the badge on his chest, so he's going to get my full support. But what concerns me is I think he progresses the ball a little bit too slow. And I think the way Arsenal play at the moment is we like to play that one-touch football, fast, forward thinking. I've been seeing stats about Jorginho and Partey. Jorginho's better at doing this, better doing that. But I think that's a bit misleading because we have a lot of the football where Chelsea are being on the back foot. So he is going to be making more tackles. He is going to be making more recoveries. So this is where it concerns me. However, Arteta wanted him at Man City. Having said that, that was like 5-6 years ago. You know what I mean? So I don't know whether it's going to be the same kind of Jorginho coming through the door, but I'm just praying to God and hoping that it works, because we haven't been in this situation for a long time, James, where we can go and potentially win the title. And this is what I wanted to see from the board, trying to be proactive, get players in and have a real push for it. Because against Man City, I feel like Arteta kind of prioritized the Premier League, to be honest, because normally we see him dead energetic on the touchline and always hopping about. Against Man City, he didn't kind of have that same aura and feeling about it. I don't know what your thoughts on that. Do you reckon he's trying to prioritize the Prem?
You only got to look at the use of the players. 100%. I mean, going into that game, I didn't think he prioritised the Prem. I thought he'd actually give it a good go. I think he did give it a bit of a go. But, I mean, look at, Odegaard comes on. You're thinking, okay, we're near full strength on the pitch, and Saka comes off. That tells you everything. Saliba got a half of football. Partey only got a half of football. Martinelli got 30 minutes. White didn't play at all. Ramsdale didn't play at all. Zinchenko only got 30 minutes. He absolutely is prioritising the Premier League. I think we can respect that. I also think this Jorginho signing, I know people won't think it is, but I think that's a prioritising the Premier League signing. I think if we were just chasing top four, I think he might have just stuck with Lokonga. I said, well, look, we'll keep developing Lokonga. He can play as an 8 as well. You can always bring Zinchenko or White into midfield. We'll figure it out. I think because we're chasing the title, I think he thought, well, I've always rated this player, so I'm confident I can get something out of him. You only got to look at Chelsea fans with him leaving. They're actually, I wouldn't say sad, but they're quite like, I'd rather have not sold him to Arsenal because we can't.
I'm hearing people saying they'll drive him to Arsenal themselves, bro.
Well, depends where you read, eh? But that's the thing. I mean, I've been hearing from lots of people that they're sort of happy because they got Enzo, so it doesn't matter. But they have an appreciation for him. So if Arteta's thinking, I need someone who's won things, because he has, he absolutely has won trophies, and he's not just been a side part. He's been in the thick of it. He has been in a midfield 2 for Chelsea, winning Champions Leagues, the Europa League, Club World Cup. I mean, I feel sick every time I rattle off everything they've achieved, and he was part of that. So if he can come and give that same commitment and slot into Arteta's system well. Someone made a great point to me. My friend Ethan, who's out in Trinidad, we were chatting on WhatsApp. He said, don't forget what great managers, like Wan-Bissaka was kind of laughed at by many, and now look what Ten Hag's getting out of him. I do think the right manager sometimes can be a different fit, and then you get a different player. So Jorginho's hit, a very good level in terms of winning trophies at Chelsea. I'd say overall performance, he's been fine. Not amazing. He's been fine/good. But if Arsenal can even for just 5 months, get another tune out of him in terms of, the recycling of possession, maintaining, constant pressure on teams by spraying passes all the time and keeping things sticking. If Arteta can hone in on those best bits about Jorginho, then he'll absolutely play a part in this team. What I don't think he'll do is break into the first 11. I'd be amazed, unless injury plays a part, if he's starting week in, week out. He's absolutely there to play a part in the squad, in my opinion.
You know what, bro? I think I do agree with you. Look, it's not a massive long-term contract. It's 18 months, so it's not so long. And obviously, the option to extend there, I think that's from the club more than the player. So that's a positive. Obviously, we do need that kind of cover in midfield. And like we said, we'd rather have somebody in than nobody. But it's just a bit funny how we started off the season with 3 midfielders. Now we're going into the back end with only 2 in that position, which some people could say is weakening the squad a little bit. But I think being out of certain competitions, you can really balance the argument out.
I wanted to touch on that because I'm not going to lie. I subscribe to that a little bit. I am one of those who thinks, okay, we've probably leveled up in terms of quality. I'm not sure we've leveled up in terms of numbers. So Trossard's better than Marquinhos, isn't it? And Kivior's better than Cedric. I know.
We haven't seen him play yet, fam. We haven't seen him play.
And I love Cedric, but yeah. And then Jorginho in possession is better than El Neni. Out of possession, I don't know. Actually, El Neni's better than people give him credit for. Yeah. But I've got no doubt he's better than Lokonga right now. So, I think we've leveled up in terms of, distribution of the squad a little bit, and we've got cover in the right areas. But I know what you mean. We're still a little light. I don't think we did our job of really filling out the squad. I mean, we did. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Basically, I thought there'd be very few outgoings, and essentially we'd be adding 2 players in that sort of can compete for the first 11. I don't think we've done that. I think we've added a nice layer or a nice upgrade to the depth. But with El Neni out, Lokonga gone, Jorginho's kind of the only one to come in now. Now you can play around with it. You could put Smith Rowe in Xhaka's position because he's become more box to box. You could put Vieira there like we did against Wolves, but it does feel like you have to tweak something or do something that feels a little unnatural to make it work. So that's the only thing I'd say. But ultimately, I'm happy with the January window. I mean, let me ask you, what would you rate the January window?
Bro, I'm not going to lie. It's a bit of a sticky one. I'll rate it a 50-50, me. I'll rate it a 5 because the reason I say that is because the targets that we wanted, we didn't end up getting. And I think Edu's got to take a little bit of slack for that as well, because even with the Mudryk situation, just put the money down and go and get him. If Arteta really wants this guy and he's been after him for a long time, I know it might seem to be a high price and you're overpaying, but teams are going to be pulling your pants down, especially when you're at the top of the table and they know that you need these kind of players. They're going to be trying to rip you off. So just go and get him. Again, with the Caicedo situation, we were after him, didn't get him, had to go for plan B, right? Basically on the last day of the transfer window. So it works hand in hand. I think, not getting the targets that we wanted. Obviously, I think most fans were very disappointed. No fan here would be happy at the 1st of January thinking Jorginho's coming through the door. Everybody was looking for a proper good signing. But at the same time, we do have to trust him. We have to trust Arteta, have to trust that Edu, because players like Tomiyasu, Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, all these kind of guys that have come in that we haven't really give a hope in hell to have took us to that next level. So I do get it. I'll rate it as a 5 because for me, I think we're still light in midfield. I could have done with one more midfielder because Emil Smith-Rowe, he keeps getting injured too much for me. Look, he came back from injury, didn't even play a game, and he was out again. So I think if a Xhaka gets injured, we're in a little bit of a pickle.
Yes.
So I rate it about a 5. But before we move on to the Everton game, James, I want to get your thoughts on Balogun because he's a player that I've rated so highly. I've been seeing people mention it in the comments. He's absolutely ripping it up in France at the moment. I think he's the leading goal scorer as it stands. Hat-trick. Do you reckon we should have brought him back for the last bit of running, or do you reckon we should have let him do a Saliba and continue his progression?
Yeah, I think having him out is the right thing. I think I saw an article today in The Athletic where they mentioned that if we brought him back, I think there would have been a bit of a financial penalty there because obviously we're just taking one of their best players back and putting the plug on a loan deal that's working for 2 of the 3 parties. Oh, it's working for all 3 parties. I mean, Arsenal will be delighted with how he's doing. I don't think bringing him back would have been the right thing, even for Arsenal, because I think we're sorted now in the front three. I think between Saka, Martinelli, Jesus, Nketiah, and Trossard, that's five players for three positions. And if you want, you can turn to Nelson, who did well against Forest, and you can turn to Smith Rowe, who's done more than well in the front three before for Arsenal. So I think we're fine. I don't think bringing Balogun back would have done anything for us. But what we can do is just be ultra happy about how well he's doing on loan and start to think about next year. Because I was making the point on Forever Arsenal that if he goes on loan, so this will be the end of the 2023 season. So if he goes on loan one more time, some people are talking about a Premier League loan. Now just give him the next loan before he's ready for Arsenal. Okay, but that will be 23-24, and then his contract expires 2025. So Arsenal need to make a decision almost this summer on what they think his future is for the club. It feels crazy because it's only 2 years ago that we were talking about it. It's the same with Saka. It wasn't that long ago. And Martinelli that we were talking about their deals, but these things come around so quickly. Now, with Balogun, I would think if he goes on loan this summer, you've got to extend him. You've got to give him another 4 or 5 year deal before you agree to him going on loan. Otherwise, if he's not really willing to sign that contract yet, Arsenal need to, if they believe in him, that is, either integrate him into the squad and basically find a way to give him serious game time and because you believe in him and you believe he's worthy of it. Or if not, and he's not willing to sign a contract, you probably have to cash in while his stock is really high because he may well come back in the summer as the top scorer in Ligue 1 or certainly in the top 3 or 4 scorers. His value will be really high. So decisions have to be made very quickly on Balogun. But for now, we can just enjoy how well he's doing. And Haaland's done it again.
I'm telling you, it's good to see. Personally, I'll be so disappointed if they cashed in on him because, in my opinion, I think he would. I know Eddie Nketiah has been firing, but I think he gives us something a little bit different, and I think he would be a better fit to Arsenal overall than Eddie Nketiah. Obviously, we know that he has mentioned about his contract a few times before he signed and whatnot. But if we can get him in, sign him again, and potentially loan him out, then that would probably be the best option. Then bring him back in a year, maybe a year and a half or whatnot, and then give him a good running. Because what he's doing in France, when you put in Mbappe to bed as well, and you're above him, who's rated as the best player in the world right about now, you got to take some serious credit out of that. And I think Arteta, he is smart enough. I don't think he's daft. I think he knows what he's doing with players. Just like Eddie Nketiah, most of us here probably didn't even think Eddie Nketiah could step up to the plate. We were all panicking. If Jesus is injured, Eddie Nketiah, that's it. We're absolutely fucked in the politest way possible. But look, this guy got a 100k contract. He got the 14 shirt. They put the faith into him. They didn't go out and spend and get another striker in, and he's kind of hit the ground running. So it's going to be interesting to see what Balogun does, but I'd be disappointed if we let him go. I think he needs to come back in. I think we got room for 3 strikers in the squad. People seem to forget we had Nketiah, Lacazette and Aubameyang, and now we've only got a Jesus and an Nketiah really when you deep the situation. Next year, if we want to fight on all fronts, it'd be perfect to have that rotation in the squad as well. So that's my thoughts on him. I hear all your thoughts. But now, the game, Saturday, early kickoff, Everton, not a good place for us, James. Sean Dyche had taken over. Do you reckon these men are going to have a new manager bounce? Because I'm not going to lie, it's a bit of a joke how they get him in just before our game.
It's just typical, isn't it? Okay, well, I'm repeating myself, so apologies to anyone who's heard me say it before. But in fairness, this is the first preview I've done on Everton. Actually, that's out. So the exclusive opinion comes to this channel. But I was talking to Mike on DR Sports. We're doing a live after deadline day. Everton fan came on DR and he said, I basically asked him, they're very down about the end of the transfer window, like really, really down and drained about that. Has the manager bounce been sapped away already? Kind of almost had they appointed Dyche after he'd come in, then it's right. Well, we've got Sean Dyche. Let's now just look ahead. But they brought him in with a view to giving him 2 players, and they haven't been able to do that. They haven't signed anyone. So they're going into this game already a bit like, so you've kind of already let him down. That's a message to the owners. So I think there will be a new manager bounce. But if Arsenal get on the ball quickly and do their thing, have 3 shots, we've done it before, haven't we? Where we go into games and we're rampant. We have 3, 4, 5 shots in the first 5 minutes, and we really kind of put teams to the sword early. If we do that, I think it could become quite hostile at Goodison Park. If we don't, and they remain organised and they get through that Everton, you know, the Everton fans are amazing. You know, they will get behind their team and they will leave the protesting and their thoughts on the ownership to a time where, well, where they feel appropriate. I'm not going to tell fans when they shouldn't do that, but they'll get behind their team. And I think there's
Yeah.
a good chance that we come up against a very stern and stubborn Everton.
I agree, and I think we've got to be a little bit careful as well. People seem to forget that this Everton side went up to Man City and got a draw out them, and that wasn't even at home. Obviously, we've been to Everton. I think you was there last year. I was there, and it just didn't end well, James. And the fans, obviously, like you said, I think they will be backing them right from the get go. Especially Arsenal's in town. They got a new manager. They're gonna have, obviously, they're gonna have their heads down a little bit with players like Anthony Gordon going, which is one of their boys, and not really getting the deals through the door. But at the same time, this is an opportunity for players that haven't been involved in the squad to impress the new manager and get an opportunity to play for the rest of the season, because they're 19th now, a joint bottom, I think on 25 points or something mad like that. And they really need a victory. And if you can get it against Arsenal, that can spur you on to go and do better things within the league. I see Sean Dyche making man do the bleep test, you know what I mean? Seeing who's fit and who's not fit. So I think he's going to have to put a plan together. And I think Sean Dyche as well, I think it's a smart appointment from Everton,
Yeah,
because
great appointment.
you know what he done with Burnley. Obviously, they didn't play the most fantastic kind of football, James, but he got them in the Premier League. He kept them in the Premier League for a number of years. He just didn't have the financial backing to then progress to the next step. But he always had that fight in him. Burnley was always a difficult place to go to. And what do you make of the whole Sean Dyche appointment? Do you reckon it was the right
It's a
one?
great appointment. Yeah, I think they needed the fundamentals in place for that club. A manager who is all about hard work, that understands what he wants to do. He's very eloquent. I mean, I was listening to him, a clip that went round from when he was on Sky Sports doing Monday Night Football, and they asked him how he felt about the kind of identity that he has of, you know, a manager who's kind of 4-4-2 and, you know, long ball and all that. And he said, sure, there's that, but my teams also work incredibly hard. They never give up, you know, all these things. And he also said that, you know, my style of football will be totally dependent on what I've got. I look at my team, I look at what their strengths and weaknesses are, and I'll build in a way that suits them. That's very different to the way I think Arteta looks at the game. Now, I think Arteta, you know, when he first came in, won an FA Cup playing through at the back, you know, defending for large parts. That's not the way he wants to do it. So he's showing a pragmatism. But at the same time, you could see for a long time, things weren't going right because Arteta was really trying to get this team to play his way. You know, Pepe, who I believe is better nearer to goal, was out hugging the touchline, because ultimately it's about getting the fundamentals in place for the way Arteta plays. So you've got managers that do things slightly differently there. And I think Sean Dyche is a great appointment for Everton. And I think he'll say to them, he'll galvanise them and go, okay, no players have come in. Okay, you know, things are really toxic and we're 19th. But, you know, you boys have the opportunity to, in a weird way, not be heroes, but, you know, to really turn it around and then get to the summer and start a bit of a revolution for this club. You know, they've got the new stadium coming. There's real opportunity there. Football's always one of those things. It hangs in the balance. It can go so bad, but it can go so right as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm expecting him to have a good impact. I think they'll stay up. I really think they'll stay up.
He does seem like a real motivator, don't he? He seems like a very strong character with a strong head, and he knows what he wants. I think he's played with a few of the players, Dwight McNeil, Tarkowski as well before, so he'll know how to get the best out of them kind of guys.
Yeah, spot on.
So we're going to have to wait and see. Hopefully we go there and we absolutely batter them. We get them early goals in, quiet everyone down, and then just take it from there. Because that's what we need. We need a big performance. Can you see anything different to the starting lineup? Obviously, Thomas Partey is a bit of a doubt whether he's going to be available. We've heard that he's obviously is not so bad and he should be available. But do you reckon Jorginho might slip into this one on a debut?
No, I don't think he will. Although maybe a game that suits him, you expect us to have a lot of the ball. So perhaps if you are going to hand out a debut, there's some good opportunities for that. Because is it Brentford away next week? Sorry, Brentford at home next week.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the next 10 games, look, there's no easy games, but they're certainly more favourable than the 9 remaining after that. So, no, I think he'll go pretty much with the same team unless there's anything we don't know about. I think the most fascinating one is Martinelli versus Trossard. I think that's the one that is the most... You've got a player there who feels like he could come in and maintain at least the levels that we've been playing when Martinelli's under at his best as well. But I think I'll stick with Martinelli because Martinelli looked sharp when he came on against City, and he's just been brilliant for us this season. Got a World Cup call because of his form, and I think he'll stick with him. I think if you were to drop Martinelli for Trossard this early on, I don't know if that would send the right message. But are you expecting anything different? Do you think Georgia? I mean, unless Partey's hip injuries, there's a rib injury, that's something to worry about. But they've quite quickly dispelled that, so I'm not sure.
No, I'm expecting exactly the same. I'm not going to lie. I think we need to not just disrupt the team too tough. I think we've been probably one of the only squads that have put a consistent line out, and that has benefited us. You know what I mean? I think what we really needed was the squad depth, and that's what we've brought into the team now. If you look at the bench, it is looking a lot better than what it's been from the start of the season. You know, the Martinelli situation, I love Martinelli. I think he's absolutely brilliant, direct. And I think we should start with him because in order to get that early goal, that directness is key. I think later on down the line, you know, we've got a different option in Trossard who gives us something totally different, to be fair. So we could bring him on if we're struggling to break teams down. Bring him on. He could give us something different. He's just had a new baby. He can give us the new celebration and all of that. You know what I mean? Give him a little motivation. So I'm expecting a tough game at Everton, but at the same time, where we are in the table and where they are in the table, you know, Sean Dyche just figuring stuff out with their team. Obviously, like I said, new manager bounce and all that, but I'm expecting us to absolutely deal with them because that's what I want. All I know is we've got a few not a few, we've got quite a few games left, but this is it now. This is literally the bit where we need to put our heads down and really drive and start believing that we can win this title because personally, out of the FA Cup, out of the Carabao Cup, for me, obviously it could be a blessing in disguise, but I'm not really happy about it because I want to be in every competition. If we don't win the Premier League, the Europa League's still going to be a tough task as well. But I'd want to end this year with a trophy, and ideally Premier League is the one that I want to go for, James.
And I really believe we can. I really believe we can. This isn't just we're top of the table, but City might catch. No, I really believe we can. And I'm just gonna say I think we will win it. I do. But obviously, if we have a major injury crisis, you know, then I mean, who could foresee that? You know, but I think if everyone stays fit and we're largely pretty lucky on the injury front, then I do believe we'll win the league, and that should be where the focus is. I think he'll rotate heavily for the Europa League, and that's where your Trossards and stuff can get game time, you know, and Jorginho can get their starts. And then you're looking at that going, well, actually, we're rotating, but the 11 that's going out in the Europa League still looks good. It's still a team you're really excited to watch. So, you know, that is going to be fascinating. And just back on that Martinelli point as well, we do this thing when our teams are doing really badly. We'll say they're not even working hard. They don't care. You know, they're not even doing the running. But then when the team's doing really well, but maybe a player's struggling for form a little bit, we don't always fall back on that. And Martinelli, I'm going to go out and say, I think he's been the one I've been least impressed with, is the way I put it, since the World Cup. I know he scored a couple of goals or had some moments, and you know, he was good against City. But for the levels he set, I think he's been the most underwhelming. However, the work rate doesn't stop. He's not stopped trying. He is still there, you know, chasing and pressing and tackling and intercepting and doing everything, you know, and you know, okay, the goals, the flair, that everything else will come back to him. He still looks dangerous. He's still doing more than most wingers we've had over the years.
Oh, what? He's quality, man, and I do echo that. I think obviously because we're so used to seeing what he's kind of set in the bar, it's just one of them where we think, you know what, we know Martinelli's doing better than this, but obviously Trossard's going to bring the best out of him. Big up James in the cut. Yeah, listen, mate, we're not like United. We can win the title. You're in the title race for about 3 days, yeah, and you're forgetting Arsenal shut that down. Big Patrick Vieira first of all, and then the mighty Arsenal. So you get back in your box. You get back in your box, yeah, and focus on the Carabao Cup, fam. That's all I know. But look, James, before we wrap it up, give us your predictions on the game.
Yeah, I went 1-0 Arsenal, which, look, I'm backing the team to win, but I'm absolutely expecting a tough game. Could we go there and steamroll them? Yeah. But could we go and face a really stern, tough, resilient Everton that, by the way, before this really bad run they're on, actually went through a real run of clean sheets and, you know, grinding out draws against Liverpool and other teams and all that. And so they have it in them to be tough to break down. They absolutely have it in them, even this season. But I'm going to say that Arsenal will get it over the line. I'm thinking a 1-0 win. But, you know, it's an opportunity for Arsenal now. With Spurs playing City on the weekend and the run of games, We came through the really tough one in January. A draw, it's not the end of the world if we don't win, but come on, yeah, this is.
No, it is the end of the world, fam. We need to win this game. Go back 8 points clear. I'm telling you, put the pressure back on City. We need to do it.
Of course, but again, it comes to our definition of end of the world. What I'm saying is,
we can't rely on Tottenham to get a victory on Sunday.
That's true. What I'm saying is we can lose and still be top of the league. So I hope that complacency doesn't enter the players' minds, because even though we as fans can say it because it's fact, they need to treat it as every opportunity to gain and gain again is crucial, because City haven't been this season, but can be relentless. So I'm going to go 1-0 Arsenal. I think they'll get it over the line.
1-0 to the Arsenal. There we go. I'm going to go with, obviously, we've not beat them there since 2017. It's been a bit of a bogey place to go to. I think it's going to start off a little bit difficult, but I think once we do get that goal, it's going to start flooding in. And I'm going to go with a 3-1 to the Arsenal. I think once we do, like I said, once we do get that goal, I have a feeling that we can go on, and then it might break their morale. The players that are on the pitch thinking, oh, it's the same old story. And you never know, they can get a goal from a set piece, because of late, I don't know what's happened to us, but Aaron Ramsdale and players are bunksing into each other. Do you know what I mean? So we could potentially give a goal away there. They're at home, new manager, so I expect him to come and try to do something at least. But look, that's the end of the stream. James, thank you very much for coming on. People in the chat.
Thank you so much for having me, man. Thank you.
You know what? It's been a pleasure, bro. I've been meaning to call you on a lot early, but I just know you're busy out your head in it, so I don't want to put too much pressure on people. But like I said, we linked up and we made it happen. So obviously, it looks like everyone in the chat loves you. So we'll hopefully have you back on soon again, man. Positive comments all the way through. I'm telling you, normally in my chat, there's not this many positive comments, man. So I'm telling you now for a fact, you're doing something right. But people, make sure you comment below as well and give us your predictions on the score after the video's done. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Subscribe if you're new. Go and check out James AFTV. He's got his own channel as well. So people that don't know that, go and subscribe to his channel, because even though we know he's on Sky Sports, AFTV, all these big platforms, he's going to be bringing you out some regular content on his show, people. But that's the end of the show. Again, James, thank you very much for coming on. Peace and love. We'll see you on the next one. Come on, you Gunners. Let's fucking have it.